if we fight against it and fight against it and fight against it and get angry at it and mad at it, sometimes that'll lead us to a breakthrough, but usually it leads us just to a breakdown. Finally, get back to a life with exercise, and this is your first step. We're going to start getting you moving. I'm Lynn Lindbergh, your bad couch guru. Welcome to the Couch to Active podcast, where I believe that exercise should not be dreadful, but getting off the couch is the hardest exercise we do. Hello, everybody. This is your bad couch guru, Lynn Lindbergh here. And today we are looking at week number 4 of the Couch to Active book. You don't need the book to follow along, but if this is your first of the series, take a look and head back to number 1 out of 9 of this series, and it'll make a whole lot more sense to you. Those of you who are here for week number 4 of the book, congratulations. You made it this far. Awesome, awesome. Good job. You are only a few more weeks away of finishing this series of 9 episodes. And so do send me an email at beawesome@couchtoactive.com. That's BEAWESOME. Let me know you've made it halfway through and that you promise you're going to get yourself all the way through all 9 of these episodes. Send me your mailing address and then I will send you your Couch to Active finisher sticker. It's just a fun little silly thing to help increase motivation, and the thought of it just makes me smile. So make sure you do that right away. And for those of you who are following close and real time, yes, I'm back. And you know what I mean. So thank you for your patience. Life has been crazy. And up here in Seattle, just last couple of days, we had the most amazing thunder and lightning storms. The rain is back. It's only the second week of September. The rain is back in Seattle. And we had so much thunder and lightning the other day that it really, quite literally, was the talk of the town. And I have a friend who is at a restaurant in downtown Seattle during the storm. And she said, everyone in the storm just stopped and oohed and awed as if they were, spectator sport. Now, I know if you're from the Midwest and you saw the storm, you would laugh at us and say, oh, that's really cute. But we're not used to that much lightning. So that was quite an adventure for us here. All righty, friends, you ready to take a look at week 4 of the book? If you have the book, week 4 starts on page 102. If you don't have the book, don't worry. This podcast is meant to keep you along, but you'll hear quite quickly that I am incredibly biased. I want you to buy the book. I want you to go through it and read every single page as if it's your Bible. But I wrote the thing, so of course I'm going to be biased that way. I'll own it. Alrighty. This one is going to be a rapid fire of a whole bunch of things we're just going to go through quickly. I want you to get out your pen and paper. I want you to take some notes today, because today we're going to look at solving for many of the barriers that last week we wrote on our barriers list. So if you've got your barriers list down, or at least a really good start on it, you'll be in a good position for this podcast today. All right, let's just jump right in. For last week, you've got your list of barriers to exercise. Everything you could think of that would get in the way of exercise for you, even the tiniest of details. In fact, the tiniest of details sometimes can be the most important ones. All righty. Here's the first thing I'd like you to do for this barriers list of yours. Look at that list. And on that list, you're going to assign a number on a scale of 1 to 4 for everything on your list. A 1 means that that barrier to exercise is something that you either have complete control over and you can completely influence it and take care of that barrier right now today. So it could be something like, I forgot my gym shoes when I went to the gym. Well, okay, maybe a solution would look like I'm going to pack my gym bag the night before to help me remember, or I'm going to make a list of things that belong in my gym bag when I go, and every time I pack my gym bag, I'm going to just take a quick look at that list. That's something you can completely influence and take care of right away. Problem solved, right? Now, life isn't perfect, we know, but for the most part, we can. Go through your list and anything that you really can influence, or anything that's very temporary in your life that's going to change pretty quickly. Those would be ones. Those are barriers you can influence, or ones that are going to go away anyway. So go through your list, and any of them you can totally influence, put a 1 by them. Now, I want you to go through your list a second time and put a number 4 by any item that is permanent, here to stay. You're either choosing to have that barrier stay, like for example, we have kids and they take a lot of our time, or we have a job and we need to go to our job. Those are barriers that are here to stay. We're not going to get rid of our kids or our job. we're going to do that. So those barriers that are here to stay, that could include health issues that are chronic or lifelong, that are here and not going away anytime soon. Put a number 4 by all of those. So go through your list and identify all your number 4s. Then, if you have any items left over, make a decision to see, do they fit closer to a 2 or a 3? And really, don't worry about getting it exactly right. That's not the point here. The point is for you to be able to get clarity on what are your barriers that are here to stay, what are your barriers that you can influence or that are going to go away. All right, pause this podcast and then come back when you have that done. Got that done? All your barriers are listed 1 through 4. Now, I want you to go through your list one more time and ask yourself, of the barriers that you listed 2, 3, or 4, really challenge yourself and ask yourself, is this really a barrier that's here to stay? Is this really something I can't influence? Do I truly have no power or control over this barrier that I have listed here? And again, try not to put anything on it. Try not to put any strong emotions towards which ones are listed as a 4 versus which ones are listed as a 1. We're really pulling out and looking pragmatically at this black and white, kind of heartless, and it's okay. Challenge yourself to see maybe there's some 4s that you can actually turn to a 3 or a 2. So take a moment, go through your list again, and really get massively creative. Are there ways that you really can influence this more than you thought you could? Got that done? Okay. Now, what I want you to do is take a look at that barriers list again, and now say, of all the ones that I listed in number 1, circle the one barrier that's listed as a number 1 that you are going to solve for right now, today. Which one is it? Because all we need is little successes, and all we have is right now, today. Of course we think long term. Of course we think in the future, but we only have right now, today. So what are you going to do right now, today? What's your number 1 barrier that you listed as a number 1? All righty. Now, isn't this a weird podcast? It's like I'm a school teacher walking you through a lesson. Okay, now I want you to jump to the number 4s. And I want you to take all of the number 4 barriers that you have, and I want you to breathe. Give yourself compassion. Be kind to yourself. And this is going to be some of the hardest work for you to do. But for those number 4s, it's now time to start making peace with those barriers that are here to stay. Because when those 4s are truly a number 4 barrier, by either choice or circumstance in your life, if we fight against it and fight against it and fight against it and get angry at it and mad at it. Sometimes that'll lead us to a breakthrough, but usually it leads us just to a breakdown. For example, in my life, the health issues that I have, the limited lung capacity that I have, the fibromyalgia that I have, when I got myself to a point of realizing that is my reality and they are probably here to stay. And yes, there's a lot of things I can do to influence them and make them better and help them out, but there's a lot of things that I can't do either and have no control over. When I got to a point where I could, for the most part, not always, I'm human too, but for the most part, have a practice of being compassionate to myself on bad fibromyalgia days or being compassionate to myself when I can't do the cardio that I wish I could do. That's when my life started feeling happier. That's when I started feeling more at peace with where I was right now today. Because I think a lot of self-help gurus and professionals tell you to push through, and magically it'll all be better and it'll be great. And I know absolutely our minds are very powerful and we can manifest things. And I could talk all around the whole globe on this topic, right? We've been there. We've already listened to all the self-help stuff. And right now, today, we need to make peace with where we're at today with those number 4s on our list. And that's hard work. So there's what we're going to do for our barrier zones is give each of your items in your barrier list a 1 through 4. And then this is a lifelong practice. Just keep going back to your list over and over and looking at what's a 1, what's a 4, what can I do today, right now, today? What do I need to make peace with right now, today? And I tell you, this is really a powerful exercise because it'll leave you feeling like you have clarity on what you can influence and you can make peace and move on from what you can't. And that puts us in a really great place of strength, and it gives us this subconscious energy, which is pretty awesome. Whew. I want to talk to you a little bit about the naysayers in your life. Whole nother topic. Some of us, a lot of us, have people in our lives who are not encouraging to us at all. In fact, they're just downright rude or critical. And we tell them, hey, I want to exercise more. And this is important to me. And my body needs exercise. My body will always need exercise. It's not negotiable. It's science, right? This will never change. And the people we love, or at least the people that are closest to us, look at us and say, yeah, whatever, you've tried this 12 times before. That, my dear friends, is a very hard place to be. If somebody looks at you and says, yeah, well, we'll see. Or, yeah, you should train for a half marathon, or you should join a gym and you should take spin classes and you should do this, or you've tried this before and you failed. And if you were more consistent, you'd already be skinny. I mean, if you have people saying that in your life, I've got to tell you, number 1, it's not healthy. It's rude. It's terrible. And number 2, you don't have to listen to it. And number 3, a lot of people don't have that in their lives. So if you have a naysayer in your life and it feels normal to you because they live with you and you don't know life outside of having somebody pick you apart and put you down for your goals, you have my permission to ignore the naysaying. You have my permission to stand up for yourself and for your health. This is important and you can do it. Now, you don't need my permission, right? You don't need me to give you permission to exercise. And I know you already know that. But it's incredibly hard if you've got someone in your life putting you down and making it hard for you to do this. If you've got somebody making you feeling like they're abandoning you every time you go out to go for a walk. If you've got somebody who's continuing to remind you of your past failures and your past tries before, and they're convinced that this isn't going to work for you, you can ignore them. And that's okay. You can also have critical conversations with them that you need to have, and that's okay too. Or you can also say, you know what? I need to have a critical conversation with this naysayer in my life because I live with them and I don't want that to change. Maybe you do, but you probably don't. Actually, I shouldn't even say what you do or don't. You need to decide that for you. But maybe you say, you know what? I need to have this critical conversation with them, but later. Right now, I only have the energy to try to take care of me. I can't take care of them. And maybe you say to your naysayer or to yourself, that's a problem I don't need to solve at all. And I can just let it rest. And I can know that if I have somebody in my life putting me down, that's hard and that's a real barrier. So I'm going to have to be strong and I'm going to have to mentally steel myself, embrace myself, and surround myself as much as I can with other people who will encourage me. And I got to keep coming back to Lynn's podcast on Couch to Active. So, because I'll always be here encouraging you. So those naysayers, you can let what they say just float away and drift away. And that might just be the healthiest thing for you. So I want you to look at your naysayers as a barrier to fitness because it's very, very real, and make your own best decision of what's right for you on how to deal with them. It's okay to let it rest. There's 3 lessons in this book we're going to do a hop, skip, and a jump over because we've covered it in other podcasts and we'll be covering it more in future podcasts. And that's that concept of making little mini solutions. So little teeny tiny mini goals that are really powerful. And there's a lot of research around mini goals and mini solutions out there now that you can apply to your barriers list. The second one we're going to skip through is when you see an opportunity to exercise, no matter how small, this goes right along with the mini solutions. When you see an opportunity to exercise, take that flight of stairs, do heel raises while you're waiting in line at the grocery store, whatever it is, jump on it, jump on it, jump on it, jump on it every single time. Any little chance you have, jump on it because there is nothing that is too small. Because we're talking about movement. We're talking about living a life we love. We're talking about being happy. I can preach this all day long. And just adding more movement in any way you can, jump on those opportunities and you'll be amazed at how they add up together. The other one we're going to jump over, no pun intended, is giving yourself permission to try every single solution you can. So try all kinds of different things. And if 8 out of 10 of them fail, you've got 2 that didn't fail, and you've got 2 things that are helping you. So try anything and everything, even if you're not sure it's going to work. Now, let's slow down and take a little bit look at this last one here that I call impossible to flake. This one, my friends, is really highly effective at getting people to get their exercise in, yet I really caution folks on it. I really want to caution you on it because it can cause stress and frustration. And remember, the whole point of Couch to Active is to end up with a life we love more. And if we don't, then what's the point, right? We want to live lives we love. That's what I preach, right? That's what I preach. We want to live lives we love. We don't want to, who cares if you end up with a perfect bikini body if you're miserable and hate life? That's not what we're about. So be careful on this one, but it is really effective and I use it in my own life. Make plans to exercise that are impossible for you to flake on. For me, that looked like getting fitness certifications, which by the way, teaching group fitness, those certifications are pretty easy to get, surprisingly easy to get. And teach a fitness class. So then you're getting paid to work out. You're the teacher. You have to show up because you have a class there. You'd be amazed at how easy that actually is to do. Now, if that's not for you, no worries. That's not for a lot of us. Make plans to meet a friend. Now, those aren't exactly impossible to flake, but here's another one. If you live a mile from somewhere or a good walking distance from somewhere, and you have the ability to take the bus one way and walk the other way, do that. Then the only way home is to walk that flipping mile. I do that sometimes. I take the ferry home and it's about 2.5 miles from my house and I just plan it So I have, if I'm lucky enough to have somebody drop me off at the ferry, then when I'm on my way home coming back, I don't have anyone pick me up. And then I have to walk that 2.5 miles and voila, done. I don't even have to think about it. In fact, I can even get on the phone and call a friend and dial up a friend. And I've got 2.5 miles of walking in. And it's no longer a decision. And I can't flake on it because it's my way home. So really think for yourself, what are things that you can do that make it impossible to flake? Maybe you want to join a local sports team. Now, I know most of us, we're probably too busy for something like that. But maybe you want to try it because let me tell you, not letting a team down is going to get you there. So impossible to flake is super great. So think for your own life, what is it that you can do to make it exercise impossible to flake? And then decide, is the added stress, is the added pressure worth it for you? And only you can decide that. And maybe you have to try it out to decide if it's worth it for you. And then you can decide, you can always quit. You don't have to commit to this for your whole life. And I know we aren't quitters, and we don't need to be martyrs either, do we? So holy moly, folks, there is a lot in this section. And really, if I could give you one thing, and here we are to the part of the podcast where I promised I would give you one thing to take away from all of this. And there's a lot. We talked about barrier zones, naysayers, mini solutions, jump on solutions, try it all, make it impossible to flake. Oh, I hate this. Okay. So what is the one thing that I think could have the most impact in your life that I want you to do? Here it is. Go through your list of barriers that you listed, and every day this week, find one number one barrier, one thing you can control or influence. We could have a whole nother podcast on control versus influence, but regardless, pick one item every day this week that you can truly influence when it comes to a barrier to exercise, and break that barrier right then. That's the one thing I want you to take. But I want you to do it all. I want you to do it all. I know. But it's okay. Sometimes we can't do it all. So that's your one thing for this week. Pick one number one barrier that you can influence and start right there. Alrighty, folks. That is section number 4, week number 4. Next week, we are going to look at week number 5 called Own It. And the whole topic is really looking at how you can own your success. So we've talked some about how we can influence others. Let's really dig down deep into how you can influence yourself. And that is next week, covering week 5 of the Couch to Active book. Thanks, friends. I hope you have a wonderful week. And remember, email me your name and mailing address to beawesome@couchtoactive.com. Let me know how this is going for you. Promise me you'll listen to all 9 of these, and I will send you free via snail mail your finisher sticker for Couch to Active. All right, bye-bye now. The show notes for this episode and all episodes of Couch to Active can be found at www.couch2active.com/ and the episode number. This is episode number 37, so it's couch2active.com /37. Bye-bye now.